Hello and welcome to another episode of the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we are back on the website of Amati Auctions based in the UK, and we're looking at one of their specialist auctions. So this is the kind of the higher level things. So this auction finishes on the 31st of March and it has been going since the 19th of March, so it's the 29th today, so a couple of days left to go. Looks like they were doing some viewings on this auction, so this is kind of starting to move out of the COVID pandemic and go a bit more back to normality. I'm not sure what the details are on that, but I think there's still time to potentially book a viewing if you wanted to. Buyer's fee is 22%. On top of the final hammer price. Once again, look at all the information at the top, read up if you're interested in buying, especially if you're in Europe or from overseas, international bidders, because you need to find out your shipping prices and import fees, etc, etc. I believe that there are quite a number of items. Let's see the exact number. Let's see, how many items are there? I think it's about, it's just shy of 150 items there. So without further ado, let's get into it and see what we have. So a violin, Genoa, circa 1750, fingerboard bearing the number 909, sold with a letter of W.E. Hill and Sons, London, 1920. Have a quick look at the measurements there. Current bid 2,500, so it's popular. Let's have a quick look at some of the other pictures. And let's just go. Interesting F holes there. Okay. I think that's extreme but good repairs. Yeah, there's quite a few on there. Some traces of worm, new wood, so it's had a lot of things done to it. Oh, we have a front scroll photo, nice. That's a nice looking scroll. And yes, a letter from Hill and Sons. We certify that the violin submitted by Mr. Baumforth was made by an Italian maker of the Genoa school. Name unknown. Period 1750. That's dated May the 21st, 1920. So that's it's an interesting lot. Yeah. What an interesting looking violin. Let's quickly look at the 360. Why not? While we're here, let's have a look at it. Okay. It's an interesting lot to start with. Okay, a violin branded Annie, a Paris, and let's have a quick look at the pictures if we can. Okay, you can see a few closed cracks there. I think that's that. That's a nice scroll photo. I do like to see the front of the scroll. That's good. See, it's a bit of damage. Okay, we'll move on. Current bid 850. So a violin by Frederick William Chanot, London, 1897, sold with one bow. Estimate 5 to 7. Current bid is 4.5. Let's have a look at the pictures. It's a nice one-piece back. Scroll. Marks and scratches to violin, otherwise good condition. That's nice. See a bit of new wood at the corners there. That's really standard. We won't do too many of these 360 viewers, otherwise we'll be here forever. But yep, you can get a good view of these. A violin by Giovanni Battista Rogeri, Brescia, circa 1670, the property of a gentleman, the table probably Johannes Tononi, scroll probably Florence. So there's a big ticket item there. 40 to 60, starting bid 40,000. No bids so far. Let's have a quick look through the pictures. See the graft there. Edgework on top has been replaced. Some new wood, some closed cracks. There's a picture of the scroll there. A quick look at the 3D. Okay. So this is an example of obviously a violin that's a bit of a composite, really, with a different kind of table and potentially scroll, so you know, valuation would be less than a kind of a Ruggieri without, which is original. A violin by Frederick G. Valance, Detroit, circa 1920. Well, you know that I like English violins and I like American violins. So this is interesting. Let's just have a quick look at the details there. You don't see that many American violins in the Amati auctions, so this is interesting. Quite a deep red varnish. There's a closed crack there and an open one next to it, but not too bad otherwise. So scroll. Okay. Violin, Germany, circa 1791 bow, with the Buchstesser label. Current bid 1500. Oh, there's some interesting things going. That's interesting on the peg box. That's unfortunate. That is really quite disgusting. I've not actually seen someone do that before. That is, yeah, I don't like that at all. It's an interesting scroll. It's a little bit kind of asymmetrical, slightly. Yep. Yeah, that's unfortunate. On the weird, like square peg bushings, that is very odd, indeed. A violin, Germany, circa 1910. The Maidstone. So these are standard kind of Maidstone violin. I'll just have a quick look at the scroll, but I don't think that we really need to look at that. A violin by S.B. Wilkinson, Leeds, 1889. Let's have a quick look at this. Chips and wear to varnish, pretty standard. A violin, Germany, 1895. So a quick look through the photos there. Nice enough looking back. Somewhere to varnish on the back. Let's scroll. A violin, possibly School of Albani, circa 1770, with a bow. Font, later, and German. Quick look at the pictures. Yeah, a few closed cracks and one slightly open one. Just on the F-hole. A violin, London, circa 1820. I cannot actually speak anymore. Made and sold by Button and Whittaker, St Paul's Churchyard, London, 1814. See measurements there. Let's see what else we have. Bit of a plain Jane, as it were, not too exciting. A violin, possibly Giovanni Pistucci, circa 1890. Current bid 4,000, someone likes that. It's an interesting colour varnish. Okay. Chips and wear to varnish. There's a few kind of worm marks and stuff. A violin, Mircore, 1910. I think we'll just go past that. A violin, probably by Thomas Powell, circa 1800, with a letter of John Dilworth, London 2020. Let's see if we can have a quick look at that. Okay, some new wood there, a lot of closed cracks. Oh god. The violin shown to me is, in my opinion, an old English violin made in London circa 1800 and probably the work of Thomas Powell. The back of maple in two unmatched pieces cut on the half slab and showing a narrow flame. On the base side irregular and more deeply marked, the ribs a quarter sawn and with light regular flame, and the head is plain. The front of two matched pieces of pine with grain of fine width at the centre becoming broad at the edges. The varnish is of a light brown colour with some red pigmentation. That's John Dilworth's opinion from last year. So John Dilworth, well known kind of knowledgeable person on violins in the UK. Okay, a violin, probably Sweden, circa 1870. With the label of Gustav Steften or something Julius Veldig. Let's just have a quick look at some of the pictures on that. Bottom base rib open at back, closed crack on the back. Violin Mircore, 19th century. Let's have a, with two bows, let's have a quick look at that, because I just skip past all of these Mircore ones usually, and I'm sure pretty offending people. Yeah, lots of closed cracks on that. A violin by Domenico Fantin Varese, 1969, the ex-Menuhin. This violin was owned by Yehudi Menuhin and was sold as lot 88 in the Menuhin collection sale held at Sotheby's in 1999. The violin still bears its original lot number and is sold with the auction catalogue. 15 to 20,000 starting bid, and no one's bidded so far. Let's have a quick look. Interesting. Well, condition seems good. Well, if you're a big Yehudi Menuhin fan, could be for you. A violin, possibly circular Paul Bailey, Mircore, circa 1880, with a Paul Bailey label and also a Strad label. I think we can skip past that. A violin, first half of the 20th century. Let's go past that one. A violin, stamp Francois Jacques Barbe. I think we can go past that one. A violin by Jean-Baptiste Collin, Mircore, 1887. Have a quick look at that. Top loose. I think I read somewhere that these are from like the Lambert workshop, and they were kind of an attempt to capitalise on the success of the Colin Mazin kind of workshop instruments, but I could be completely wrong there. A violin, label Johannes Baptista van der Starg, The Table by Another Hand. One copy or receipt of Caressa and Francais, Paris. Measurements, current bid 1,000. Let's have a look at this. Nice, interesting back there. Table by Another Hand. Big crack there. Open one there. Some new wood in places. There's a Caressa receipt. A violin, probably workshop of De Resi, Mircore, 1880. Once again, we can go past that. Violin workshop of Mark Lebert, Mircore, 1920. We'll skip past that. A violin, Mircore, first half of the 20th century. A violin, Germany, circa 1920. We can move past that. A violin, unlabelled, property of a musician. It's a rather curious looking thing. Let's have a quick look at that. Measurements. Let's delve into this curiosity a bit more. Okay. Chips and where to varnish. That's a slightly strange shape there. Very odd. A violin, Mircore, circa 1900. I think we can go past. Interesting fingerboard. A violin by R. Williams, Austria, 1977. Good look at the measurements. Let's have a look at some of the pictures. And the back. Scroll. It is fine. And there's the scroll. Violin by George Pine, London, circa 1900. Current bid 1300. Nice back. Yep, nice scroll. 3/4 size violin, probably France, 1910. Violin, France, circa 1920. Can go past that. A violin, Germany, circa 1900. I think we can skip that one. Violin by Hugh W. Cooper, Glasgow, 1908. Current bid 2000. Yeah, I also like Scottish violins as well, so we'll have a quick look at that. It is fine. There's the scroll. A violin, France, circa 1930. We'll go past that one. A violin, Germany, circa 1900. I mean, that is a pretty crazy looking varnish job there. Look at that. That is quite curious. Looks like it's got some new wood there or something. Back not quite so crazy. Interesting. Neck slightly loose. Serious varnish damage. Yep, I would say so. Interesting skull. A violin, France, circa 1920. A violin, France, circa 1920. A violin, France, first half of the 20th century. Half-size violin, Mircore, circa 1900. A violin, probably England, circa 1910. Let's just have a quick look at that. Slightly odd shape. A violin, France, first half of the 20th century. A violin by Charles Bailey, France, 1942. Let's have a quick look at that one. Got a look at some French instruments. Bit of a peg bushing there. Close crack. Otherwise seems pretty good. A violin by Wilhelm Paul Kunz, Gravenhager, 1932. Should we have a quick look at that? Yep, looks in very good condition. A violin, Germany, circa 1810. Let's have a quick look. Current bid 800. Get the measurements on that. And there's the back. There's the scroll. Lots of repaired cracks on that. Okay. A violin by Amati Auctions, Paris, 1922. Let's have a quick look. crack there. Yep, not a fan of that colour of varnish, I have to say. Violin workshop of Colin Mazat. We mentioned that earlier, or I mentioned that. I am just one person. I am not more than one person. Not yet. Give it time. A violin by Edward Brookfield, Southport, 1898. Made by Ian Brookfield, violin maker, Southport. Measurements 357 back. Yep. These F holes are a little bit out of whack, some might say. Looks quite plain. A few closed cracks. Yep, interesting. See the difference in levels of F holes there. That's curious. Another Colin Mazat workshop instrument. A violin by Emmanuel Whitmarsh, London, 1890. Let's have a quick look at that. A violin Mirecourt, first half of the 20th century. Another, probably Amati Auctions, Mirecourt, 1935. JTL, French violin, so you can go past that. Violin, London circa 1900, made in London by hand, varnished by a secret process which greatly enhances the volume and quality of tone, supplied only by the sole proprietors, Barnes and Mullins, 1914, on label. Let's have a look at this oddity then. There's a few cracks there. Nothing too exciting there. A violin by J. Cyril, Mountford, Bristol, 1981. Current bid 200. An English violin. It's in fine condition. A violin by John Stewart, Trossachs, 1914. Let's look at the measurements. Current bid 500. And okay, in fine condition. Interesting scroll. A violin by Thomas Kennedy, London, circa 1820, 6 to 8,000. Let's have a look at the measurements, starting with 6. Oh, viola even, I was going to say. 682 back on a violin, that's a bit mad. So a viola by Thomas Kennedy. Bit of a cheek patch there. And the top is a bit interesting on that one. Let's just make sure that I haven't... yes, I thought that is the first viola. I'm going mad. A viola by Enzo Barbieri, Mantua, 1980. Let's have a quick look at this. Nice figure in a very good state of preservation. Are there going to be a lot of violas, I wonder? A viola by Pierre Lajuge, Mirecourt, 1958. And let's look at this, because we don't usually have many violas in a good state of preservation. Bows. Silver mounted violin bow by Albert Nürnberger, Germany. Current bid 950. Let's just quickly, as it's the first one, just see. Good state of preservation. Have a quick look at the frog there. Okay, just look at the head. Okie dokie. Nickel mounted violin bow, workshop of Nicolas Milan, France. Current bid 2,000. It's got Raffin certificate in a good state of preservation. Some cracks to adjuster. Let's have a look at these certificates. a look at the head there, and yeah, okay. Nickel mounted violin bow, circa 1840. Okay, let's carry on. Silver mounted violin bow. Let's just have a quick look at that. It's curious. Let's see what the okay, so it's had a bit of wear and some missing bits, repaired cracks. Silver mounted violin bow. Nickel mounted violin bow, France, circa 1920. Nickel mounted violin bow, France. Silver mounted violin bow by W. E. Hill and Sons, London. Current bid 1300. Let's have a look at the measurements. 62.3 grams. That's a little bit heavy-ish, isn't it? Slight wear to top of handle. Let's have a quick look at that. Yep, you can see that's the Hill and Sons stamp, and there's a bit of wear there. Okay, I think 62 is a little bit heavy. I think probably 60 is desirable, but then every bow is different. A silver mounted violin bow by E. M. Penzel, Elbach, 1910. Okay. A nickel mounted violin bow by August Moritz Knopf, circa 1890. A gold mounted violin bow by Nicholas Simon, 1850. Starting bid 4,000. Golden ebony. Certificate Salcho and Sons, New York. Weight 55.5 grams. That would seem potentially a little bit light, but still. Frog and adjuster later, so not original frog and adjuster. Nickel mounted cello bow by Roger Francois Lot, France, 1960, with the Raffin certificate. See those quite a lot. Let's just carry on for now. Nickel mounted violin bow, Miracle, circa 1910. Carry on. Silver mounted violin bow by Herman, 1945. Nickel mounted violin bow, France. Silver mounted violin bow. Nickel mounted cello bow. Nickel mounted violin bow, School of Bazin, France. Nickel mounted double bass bow for Arnold Voigt. Nickel mounted double bass bow, Germany, circa 1910. Nickel mounted double bass bow, circa 1910. Another nickel mounted double bass bow, Germany, 1910. A nickel mounted double bass bow, Germany. So someone's selling off their collection of German double bass bows. And here's a double bass, probably 19th century. This bass was probably a Bassetto model before somebody decided to adapt the lower corners. Here's some measurements. So I don't often see a double bass, so let's have a look at these pictures. Okay, this is not a no swirly 360 view and no condition report as such, but I'm sure you can contact them for a condition report. A cello by a member of the Carcassi family, Florence, circa 1760. The back can possibly scroll by another hand. Measurements, let's have a look. Okay, let's put it through the 360, why not? Okay, let's just have a quick look at this. Okay, Well, that's had a lot of new wood, a lot of closed cracks there. There's a lot going on there. Marks from machine heads on scroll. Top has been altered. Centre dot and back has been planed down. Suspect back and scroll not original to top and ribs, but alterations to top and back make it hard to be certain. So it's a bit of an odd thing. It's been messed around with a bit. Cello, JTL workshop. Cello Miracle, circa 1910. 5-string cello workshop of Ian Highfield, Birmingham, 1910. Let's just quickly have a look at that anyway. Okay, some distortion to table. A cello, 18th century, the table by another hand, labelled Januarius Galliano. Let's have a quick look at this. Okay. Wow, lots of closed cracks there, lots of new wood, later table, open crack there on one of the pegs and on the side. Need a bit of attention. Cello, first half of the 20th century. Another cello, first half of the 20th century. Cello branded P. Maginot, and with a Strad label. Violin Bridges book, we've seen that most of the time. Dictionary of Violin and Bow Makers, John Dilworth, who we spoke about a bit earlier. Monograph collection. Contemporary Violin Makers by Jost Thorne. Living Legacy, Historic Stringed Instruments at the Juilliard School. Les Violins, Venetian Instruments, Paintings and Drawings. Die Mensa Gegenbauer. Deutsche Bogenmacher, German Bowmakers, Volume 1 and 2. Luteria in Toscana. So violin making in Tuscany, contemporary violin makers. Masterpieces of Italian violin making by David Rattray. The violin makers of the Guarneri family by the Hills. Italian Gegenbauer by Karol Jalovec. Violin Makers of Hungary. That could be quite an interesting book, that one. Jean-Baptiste Villaume. Genealogy of the Amati family of violin makers. Musical instruments, unusual and unique violins. Yeah, that's quite cool. 69 of 500 copies. Luthiers of Paris. Okay. That's popular. Mr. Black's violins. French luthiers 1 and 2. This is Italian violin making in the 18 and 1900s. Okay. Maggini and his life and works. W. E. Hill and Sons books. Maggini and the Tuscan and Lemessi. Encyclopedia de Gegenbauers by Karol Jalovec. The Guadagnini family of violin makers by Doring. Musical instrument in the Ashmolean Museum, the complete collection. It's a big old book, that one. It's huge. The Tuscan Strad, a short account of a Stradivari violin by the Hills. Gegen aus Venedig. A lot of books in this auction. Italian violin making from 1860 to 1960. It's an interesting time period. Stradivari by the Hills. Golden Age of violin making in Spain. The Amadeus, 40 Years in Pictures and Words. Books of Mirko Luthiers. Reproduction catalogue of the estate of J.B. Villaume. A framed set of autographs, Hubert Leonard, Adolf Brodsky and Adolf Betty. Framed set of autographs, Daniel Meltzer, Adolf Brodsky, Albert Spaulding. An 8-pack violin case, could be quite useful. A 4-pack violin case. A viola case branded Gewa. A violin case branded Musafia. A violin case unbranded. A violin case branded W.E. Hill and Sons. A double violin case branded Edward Withers. Ooh, and is that, are we there? Is that the end? Quite possibly. Let's just double check that. Are we indeed at the end of that? Yes, that's it. So we've gone through the whole auction. Ignored a lot of Mirko violins, as usual. But no, an interesting auction, like a few things here and there. For me, I think actually I'd stick with lot 1 as the most interesting item, just with a bit of the kind of Hills kind of information added there. So yeah, the violin Genoa circa 1750 with a very nice scroll there. So that's my pick of the auction. And yeah, if you're interested in looking at this auction, I shall put a link in the description and check it out. You've got a couple of days left and investigate the lots yourself further and see what you think. So once again, thanks for tuning in, and check out the auction, and I will catch you next time. Ciao! Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.